Regardless of the length of time in grief, all the work is like a constant boot camp. You are in unfamiliar territory, you're being pushed to perform while you're exhausted and doubting everything. Regular boot camps focus on the physical, but your boot camp, the grief boot camp, is physical too, but it is also, and more importantly, spiritual. Remember, we do not war with flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, the rulers of darkness of this world, and against spiritual wickedness in high places. Do you not think that the devil won't use this time of vulnerability and doubt to come after you? The good news is that you only need a mustard seed of faith. So listen today to find out how to take that little bit of faith you have and grow it. Hey, friend, welcome to the Grief to Great Day podcast. Do you feel like you're going crazy? Is the shower the only place for you to really cry? Are you surrounded by people, but you still feel all alone? Do you want to be the you were before your loved one died, but you have no idea how to get there? I'm Steph Cabanis, Southern by choice, wife, turtle triathlete, Jesus follower, and fellow traveler in the journey of grief. I too struggled to breathe, questioned God and my faith, and thought I would never be happy again. But God took my brokenness and He turned it into a breakthrough. So if you're ready to understand how to navigate grief, lean into your faith and take just one step towards healing, then bring your ugly cry, get into a comfortable place, even if that's your bed right now, and let the healing begin. Girl, there's hope for your future. Come on through the house and join me on the porch. Still warming up here in Eastern NC, so the porch will be our relaxing and healing place today. I'm Steph, and this is Grief to Great Day. Thank you for being here. I want you to feel welcomed and heard through this podcast. Hello to everyone listening in Switzerland, our spotlight country, and in the U.S. Minnesota continues to be at the top with the most downloads for the third week. Grief to Great Day is downloaded in over 75 countries now. This tells me that there's a need to talk about grief and that it's felt throughout the world. So please know that whatever country or state you are in, you're not alone as you walk through this thing called grief. I know there are new listeners each week, so if that's you, welcome to the podcast you never wanted to need. I'm glad you're here because it tells me you're taking steps towards your healing. Now, for you new listeners, if you hear me talk about Monica, her faith, or her death, and you want some background, just go to my website, grief2greatday.com, and click on the book tab. Her faith journey throughout the last 6 months of her life were unreal, and they changed me. And she is the reason that you are listening to me today. In this podcast, we're going to talk about understanding grief, processing daily life, and growing your faith. So if you're just starting your journey, please know that life will change. Regardless of how it feels right now, it won't always hurt like this. It's important for you to hear that often. That's not to say that you'll stop missing your loved one because you won't, but you will be able to breathe, to laugh, and to live again. Well, the last 3 weeks have been on faith, so why not do one more episode on the subject? This week we'll touch on feelings again, but it'll be more practical help in your daily life as you walk through grief. Anytime I hear of someone I'm close to losing a loved one, my heart breaks for them because it means they are beginning their journey, and the beginning is sickening. In the beginning, you feel like you're going crazy because nothing makes sense anymore. The world has flipped and you are holding on for dear life. Everything is new. Making yourself do the mundane things that were once effortless are now major events to get through, like taking a shower or going to the grocery store. Don't even talk about getting back to church. And then there's your relationship with God. Your anger, resentment, and confusion can easily be directed at God while you also recognize that He's the answer for your healing. I say all that to say that in the beginning of grief, everything, everyone, and every day is just varying degrees of overwhelming. You are just trying to breathe and function in this new world you don't want. So, how then do you do the work of grief to heal and not get stuck? Grief is basically the boot camp of faith. It's hard, ridiculously hard. It's unfair and it's relentless. The good news is that it is time limited and you don't need much faith to have hope and take the next step. All right, y'all, here comes a truth and love alert. That means I'm going to share some truth, but it's because I love y'all. Now, you know that not everyone will share truth with you right now because they fear hurting your feelings. I would rather hurt your feelings than hinder your progress. At some point, you have to decide that you're going to rebuild your life. What this means is that you come to an acknowledgement that life won't ever be the same, but that God still has plans for you and you will do what you need to do to keep moving forward. If you're thinking, well, duh, yeah, then great. You are further along in the process. If you know what I said is true, but you're frustrated because you don't know how to do that or how to do it faster, then you too are further along in both cases. Thank God for how far you have come. You can add that to your faith resume from episode 3 and keep doing what you're doing every day. Now, if the statement of deciding to rebuild your life made you angry or you thought, Steph, you have no idea what I'm going through. I'm just trying to make it through the day. I get it. I lived most of the first 2 years in a daze. I functioned most of the time, but I worked hard to function. It was the most difficult 2 years of my life, but it was probably the most important 2 years as I was building a foundation of faith and a closer walk with God. Those 2 years, those 2 hard years, changed who I became. Oh, and look, don't let me scare you into thinking it may take you 2 years to come to the place of saying, you know what? I'm still hurting. I'm still confused, but I'm still here. So there has to be a reason for it. Okay, God, use me in whatever way you will. See, I was a thinker, an overthinker, and a why person. So it may take you a lot less time. Regardless of the length of time, all the work is like a constant boot camp. You're in unfamiliar territory. You're being pushed to perform while you're exhausted and you're doubting everything. Regular boot camps focus on the physical, but your boot camp, the grief boot camp, is physical, yes, but it's also and more importantly spiritual. Remember, we do not war with flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, the ruler of darkness of this world, and against spiritual wickedness in high places. Do you not think that the devil won't use this time of vulnerability and doubt to come after you? See, after Monica died, my passion for health, that was my background, that was my degree, felt meaningless. Who cared if I or anyone else was healthy? Life is clarified by affliction, though. I did not ask for or really want to have a heart for grief support, but God. Now, I can't imagine life without doing it. When I work on the support program or the podcast, it's not work, it's a blessing. I guess the point is don't limit the God who created the universe by your current emotional state. Don't get stuck in it'll never change, it'll never get better, because I'm living proof that yes, it will change, and yes, it will get better. You, my friend, are an overcomer. I'll say it again. You are an overcomer. It may not feel like that right now, but that is the truth. The way to get there is to make the best decision you can when you reach a fork in the road. Here are some other examples of forks in the road: getting out of bed every day, feeling the fear and still doing the thing, talking to yourself differently. You're not a failure. You are wonderfully and fearfully made. You are a son or a daughter of the God of the universe. Take your mustard seed of faith and seek God. Do any of these things today, and you are making a great decision and you're taking another step in your healing. Every day is important. Every day is boot camp right now, and every day is a fork in the road. You can have some bad days. You can even have some bad weeks in grief. You can't allow the overwhelm to take you over all the time. So don't wait until tomorrow. We can put off so much until tomorrow, and I'm preaching at myself, but putting it off until tomorrow just makes it harder to start. Putting off doing the dishes until tomorrow's fine, but a month full of tomorrows and you can no longer see the kitchen sink. Put your health off until tomorrow for a year, and many of us have done that for longer than 1 year at least one time in our lives. And starting from square one actually becomes reaching up to start at the old square one in terms of physical health. Your journey works, or the work of your journey for this week is show up. If you don't show up for boot camp, then yeah, you're not going to have to do all the hard work. You're not going to be yelled at. You're not going to be pushed. You're not going to grow. So show up. Show up for God. Pray and read. Show up for yourself. Pray, read, and rise. And do just a little of this every day so that you can prepare the fields for where God wants you. Now, if you haven't seen the movie Facing the Giants, take a couple hours to watch it. This is how you encourage yourself and build trust in God, and then you'll know what preparing the fields means. Not going to boot camp is certainly easier. Not doing the work of grief is certainly easier in the moment, but long term, it will actually make life harder for you. See, not dealing with grief, it doesn't mean it goes away. It doesn't. It has to be dealt with. And if you'll do the work, the other side will bring you joy and peace, a closer relationship with God, and purpose. So show up today, overcomer. Just take the next best step. If you're ready to take a brave step towards your healing, there's help available. Grief to Grey Day offers free and paid faith based resources so you can join the private Facebook group. You don't have to suffer in silence anymore. Be a part of a group of faith filled women who get it in a way the world can't. The daily pain and struggle of grief is not denied here, but faith paves the way for hope in this group. You can download the free Loss, Grief, and Healing seminar. This is the best faith based introduction of what to expect in your grief journey. Download the seminar if you want a reason to hope and learn how to heal. Today is not your forever, and you are not alone. You can also purchase grief coaching. If you're looking for one to one support to figure out your next best step, or if you want to understand where you are in the grief process, or you just need accountability in taking those healing steps, these 1 hour grief coaching sessions are the answer for you. You can also purchase the workshop called The First Year of Grief: How to Survive with Hope and Heal. This workshop is the action oriented step taking program you need to give you foundational tools to navigate your grief in the first year, especially. Remember, time itself does not heal all wounds. You have to take steps. In this workshop, you'll discover how to pursue God, even when you don't want to pray. You'll understand the roller coaster of grief so you know what's normal and what to expect. You will learn to process daily life with practical help to get you through those I can't get out of the bed days. And you'll find where to seek support because I'll share grief resources that are best for you. Look, I've walked this journey and never thought I could be happy again. But God, He restored my joy and gave me a calling. So no matter how dark and hopeless your day is today, this can be your story too. It is my great joy to help you get there. Your safe place for all things grief can be found on the website grief2greatday.com. This includes all the resources I just shared and, in addition, the Grief to Great Day podcast and the book Dying to be Healed. Regardless of where you are right now, you can breathe. laugh, and live again. Thank you for being here today, for showing up. If this podcast has given you hope, encouragement, or helped you in any way, share it with a friend, either in a text or on your social platforms. Also, please subscribe, rate, and leave a written review on iTunes. It's a huge blessing for me to know that you're out there. Lastly, and this is important, you are not alone. Connect with me on the Grief to Great Day website, the link is below, and sign up for our free newsletters. I want to be able to pray for you by name. Remember, grief isn't something you're going to get over, but a great day is something you can get to.